Sweet dreamers, welcome to a new magical story. Today's story is about the adventures of Rikki the Red Fox at the North Pole. Once upon a time, when the North Pole was still a magical place, there lived a mischievous red fox named Rikki. Rikki was unlike other foxes. Not only was he red, but he also had a beautiful, soft fur that reflected the colors of the sunset. Rikki loved adventures and was always curious. But today, he was a little tired. He had run through snowy forests, leaped over frozen rivers, and even slipped on the ice all day long. Now, it was time to rest and close his eyes. Rikki found a cozy little den amidst the snow and made it snug with soft, fluffy white flakes to lie on. He curled up in his den and began to dream about the most amazing things. In his dream, Rikki was ice skating with a group of friendly penguins. They laughed and twirled around while the northern lights danced above them. The lights were like rainbows of the night, and they painted the sky with the most beautiful colors. Rikki looked up and tried to catch the lights, but they were so far away. Then, he decided to go ice fishing in a frozen lake. He drilled a hole in the ice and lowered his tail into it. Suddenly, he felt a gentle tug on his tail, and he carefully pulled up a big, glistening fish. The fish smiled at him and said, "Thank you, Rikki, for catching my dinner tonight." Rikki released the fish back into the water, watching it disappear into the deep lake. Afterward, Rikki met a group of reindeer with magnificent antlers. They invited him to dance with them in the snow. Snowflakes fell around them like a magical whirlwind as they danced and laughed. Rikki's dream led him further to an ice palace, where a friendly polar bear greeted him. She took him to a room with a soft, snow-white bed and said, "Rest here for a while, Rikki. You deserve some rest." And so, Rikki did just that. He crawled into the soft bed and closed his eyes, knowing that he was always welcome in the enchanting dream world of the North Pole. While Rikki slept, the wind whispered softly across the frozen plains, and the stars glistened in the sky. The North Pole was a magical place, and Rikki the Red Fox was the happiest fox of them all. The Northern Lights. The following night, while the North Pole lay in a sea of silence and the stars sparkled high in the sky, Rikki continued his enchanting adventures in his dreams. This time, he began his dream in a forest of glistening ice crystals. The trees looked as if they were sprinkled with sugar, and their branches sparkled like diamonds in the moonlight. Rikki ran between the trees, relishing the cold, crisp air. Suddenly, he heard a soft sound. He followed it and discovered a group of snow hares playing hide-and-seek. Rikki joined in, and the snow hares were surprisingly good at hiding. But Rikki was clever and found them all, and together they laughed and frolicked in the snow. While playing with the snow hares, Rikki noticed the northern lights beginning to dance in the sky again. They transformed into the most beautiful shapes and colors. It seemed as if the lights were telling a story, and Rikki listened attentively as he lay on his back in the snow, gazing at the enchanting display above him. After a while, Rikki found a cozy burrow under a thick, soft blanket of snow. He crawled in and nestled comfortably. It was so warm and snug that he began to dream of a friendly ice queen. She smiled at him and invited him to take a ride with her on a sleigh pulled by magical reindeer. They glided over icy plains, making graceful turns as the moon illuminated their path. Eventually, the Ice Queen brought Rikki back to his burrow under the snow blanket and whispered her gratitude for his visit. Rikki smiled, closed his eyes, and let himself be carried away by the dreams. While Rikki slept deeply, the North Pole guarded his dreams and ensured they were full of adventure and joy. The enchantment of the North Pole was inexhaustible, and Rikki, the Red Fox, knew that he was always welcome to return to this magical place in his dreams. The Cheerful Reindeer. In the third night of Rikki's adventures at the North Pole, he continued to dream of an unforgettable journey. This time, his dream began with the sound of soft bells jingling. He opened his eyes to discover he was on a beautiful sled, drawn by cheerful reindeer. They were adorned with colorful ribbons and bells that tinkled with each step. Rikki held on tight to the sled as the reindeer raced across the snowy hills. The sled carried him to an enchanting ice palace, even more splendid than his previous dreams. The palace glistened in the twilight like an enormous diamond. Rikki stepped off the sled and was greeted by friendly snow elves. They welcomed him inside and showed him the wonders of their magnificent palace. Rikki found ice crystals in every imaginable shape, and there was even an ice fountain that bubbled with sparkling mineral water. The snow elves played music on ice instruments and danced with smiles on their faces. Rikki joined them and danced merrily through the palace halls. After what felt like an eternity of fun, the reindeer returned him to his cozy den under the snow blanket. As Rikki nestled into his warm burrow, he expressed his gratitude to the North Pole for all its marvelous dreams. He knew that these enchanting adventures brought him joy and reminded him of the beauty of the world around him. As the night advanced and the stars twinkled, Rikki fell into a deep and peaceful sleep, knowing that he was always welcome to return to the magical North Pole in his dreams. Sleep well, dear friends, just like Rikki the Red Fox. Don't be afraid to dream of the wonders of the North Pole, and may your dreams be filled with adventure and joy.